Design thinking is a mindset and approach to learning, collaboration, and problem solving. In practice, the design process is a structured framework for identifying challenges, gathering information, generating potential solutions, refining ideas, and testing solutions. Design thinking can be flexibly implemented, serving equally well as a framework for a course design and a roadmap for project-based learning. It's basically an approach to learning that focuses on developing students' creative confidence. Next are the components of design thinking. Start with empathy. Conduct research in order to understand the user's needs. For example, in the video Design Thinking, a problem-solving framework, the teacher shows her students a video of a girl walking to go get water. This poor girl has to walk many miles to go get water, and it helps the students have empathy and want to help with the problem, to search for resources and create a solution, which brings us to our next point. Define, which means to articulate the problem clearly. Make sure the students know the problem so that they can better create a solution. Ideate. Generate a range of creative solutions quickly. So brainstorming on paper in a group would be a good example of this. Prototype. Model and build representations of the best ideas. Test. Evaluate prototypes and refine them. Publish. Share findings with a wider audience. In the components of PBL, this would be an authentic audience. Design thinking based on resources. First, don't forget to lead with empathy. I think that point's really important because it helps the students understand why they're doing the project. Throughout my research, I kept thinking of the I can mentality, which I practice a lot throughout my college experience, and I will go into this point a little more in detail on the next slide. Next, challenge assumptions. Challenging assumptions means that when confronted with a problem, you seize the opportunity to do better than you've done before, and ask questions like what if and how might we. Make experiments happen. Just do it. It means try something and learn from it. Next is share your process. Design cannot thrive in isolation. As you share your empathy work or your experiments, share what's hard, not just what's shiny and new. Try new things and be open to change. I recently had a wonderful example of this for my Foundations of Teaching field experience. My teacher that I was shadowing asked his students to be curators of an art show that they were going to create. As he was presenting this project, he thought of a new component that will help his students go into a deeper thinking process. While he was presenting this project, I saw his face light up as he thought of this new idea. And even though he thought of this on the spot, he was able to implement it into the project seamlessly, which made me realize how flexible you have to be as not only a teacher but a facilitator, which is why I think throughout design thinking you should always be open to change and to help your students better understand why. I graduated from the College of Idaho, and their motto was the College of I Can Do Anything, which at first I didn't fully understand. Well, that's a broad statement, I thought, but throughout my experience, I became a design thinker based on PBL. Since art is mainly project-based, the 6 components of design thinking made me realize that design thinking is how I would go about my project. First, read the instructions. Second, ask myself why I'm doing this project, which would usually include empathy in some way. I needed to portray the medium perfectly in order to say XYZ with my piece. Then, the prototype is my piece, obviously. And lastly, the publish and testing piece has to do with my final products and critiques from peers and professors. Design thinking has impacted education by helping students like me have the confidence to say, I can do anything. How does design thinking act as a bridge to go from projects to project-based learning? I found this in one of our readings. As educators, we face a daunting task to bridge our requirements for today with our students' requirements for tomorrow. PBL and design thinking may provide 2 avenues to scaffold our own thinking and instruction as we move toward innovating our classrooms and schools. Students need to become not only problem solvers, but also problem seekers, those who can look for solutions in contexts where one never previously existed. So basically, to answer the question, Design thinking provides another potential form of teacher scaffolding to help craft these experiences. So basically, experiences meaning projects to project-based learning. How can the K classroom support PBL? First, I'm going to go over the key components of project-based learning. Student agency, sustained inquiry, driving challenge, collaboration, reflection, and exhibition. The K Classroom supports PBL by helping the teacher, whom has now become the facilitator, establish lessons with an inquiry-based model as well as integrating a deeper learning competency as a framework. First is student voice and choice, and second is multiple exposures of platforms and ability to defend their choice. Students should be familiar with multiple exposures of choice from the A attribute, and they should take ownership in their learning, especially in presenting their exhibition to an authentic audience. And you should have confidence in their ability to work well in the groups that they are given, and not be off task. There should be no teacher redirection in this phase of the hack model because students should be independent. Rubric-based grading is familiar based on the C attribute, and finally this pushes beyond the brick and mortar. This is one of my favorite attributes because I love seeing students applying their knowledge outside of school. For example, in one of the videos we watched for the Nearopod activity, the student was fully independent at her internship and she was fully in charge of her learning as well as integrating real life experiences with her assignment, which I really loved to see. So to answer the question in more detail, the K Classroom can support PBL because the key components of PBL are easy to integrate with the attributes of the K in the hack model. So for example, collaboration, reflection, exhibition, things like that, it's so easy to integrate with technology in the first place, and it has already established a framework in the hack model. So for example, I talked about earlier A and C, which is choice and rubric based and things like that, which PBL really goes hand in hand with.